How can you create a business that makes both you and your customers happy? Today, I would like to talk about this. There are several important points to consider when creating a business with this new mindset. The important points that I believe are as follows. 1. Do only what you love. 2. Help people by doing what you love. 3. The selling price is a fair price, at least not at a ridiculously high price. In our current society, the values of exploiting the fittest, exploiting workers, and forcing consumers to pay as much as possible still prevail, so it is difficult for existing companies to do business in a three-sided manner. Therefore, the economic activities we engage in naturally become individual businesses. There is no doubt that the most important things to be aware of when running a personal business are the 3 points I just mentioned. But if you go by normal business theory, this approach will not be taken. I have a history of attending and obtaining a full-time MBA in Europe in English, and I actually scored 980 on the TOEIC without studying much. That's why I've been learning all about trendy marketing and strategies. There is a business theory called blue ocean strategy that became popular several years ago. But this way of thinking is exactly the same as the existing way of thinking. And it is not the new way of thinking that we are trying to create now. It's completely different and old-fashioned. Blue ocean strategy is a strategy that is based on the fact that the market is currently saturated in various industries. And when entering a new industry into an existing industry with intense competition, it is a red ocean where competition is fierce. The story is about finding a blue ocean where there is no competition and entering into it. Another example is Porter's 5 forces analysis, which analyzes power relationships within an industry, analyzes threats and opportunities in the market from the perspectives of buyers, sellers, new entrants, and substitutes, and builds a strategy for your business. There is an idea that, needless to say, these are strategies, and strategies are theories that are born in a world of pure win-lose, a mentality of the fittest. This is a really interesting story, but we are talking about moving away from this win-lose world and eradicating the world of the fittest. Therefore, when we are involved in any business, individual, or organization, what we should value most is not this win-lose strategy. In a sense, whether the industry you are entering is a blue ocean or a red ocean, whether the competitive barriers are high or low, is secondary. As a business owner, do you like your business? And whether you can help people with that business. This is the most important point when working or doing business. If this aspect is neglected, even huge companies are heading toward collapse over the long term. In a sense, this phenomenon is widespread in almost all industries in Japan. It is true that the Japanese manufacturing industry, Sony, Matsushita, Toyota, and Honda, were special companies in the world, increasing their market share and achieving great prosperity because the economic conditions at the time worked in favor of Japanese companies. I think this is because the people who worked at these companies, including the owners, were passionate about product development and business expansion. In the life of a salaryman that we Japanese people are currently experiencing, most companies are affected by the big company disease, and all decisions are made based on an insurance-like stability mentality and a bureaucratic structure with internal politics that flatters those in power. I think everyone is well aware of what has happened. I'm sure every company has been doing this for 10 or 20 years, saying, if this company does this, it will fail. The cause of this big business disease is that positions and authority within the company have become interests, and the basis for decision-making is to enrich the private interests of the interests, resulting in a state of corruption. Naturally, it is rare for people working within a company to be motivated, and in addition, it becomes difficult to create products that truly attract customers. What's worse is that at the same time that the corporate culture has become one in which internal interests can be maintained and existing managers can earn a stable income, the same attitude toward customers is being adopted. It is penetrated. Even if a product is poisonous or of poor quality, it is the idea that justice is what sells and can reduce costs, and the true value for the customer is secondary. This is a noticeable trend in the medical and food industries, and as shown in the video I posted the other day, it has become apparent that there are no decent processed foods, sweets, etc., that can be purchased at convenience stores or supermarkets. The reason why highly addictive and poisonous processed foods are in circulation is because companies have long lacked ethics. Furthermore, the fact that the number of obese people is clearly increasing compared to 10 or 20 years ago, and lifestyle-related diseases such as diabetes and cancer are continuing to increase, confirms such corrupt corporate ethics. And consumers are consumers, never learning, preferring the appearance of products, the false and addictive taste, and the state of their own bodies becoming secondary. Furthermore, in terms of workplaces, Japanese organizations have traditionally had a pronounced hierarchy-based subordination relationship, with a structure in which superiors control subordinates through power. In addition, there is still a clear disparity in treatment between men and women, and it is rare for women to be able to advance in the ranks at the same level as men. If we take a quick look at the economic activities of typical Japanese companies, we can clearly see their structure. The people who stand at the top of Japanese companies are money worshippers and do whatever they want, and as long as they can efficiently collect money from customers, their corporate activities are carried out with low ethical standards that do not tolerate poison, pornography, or anything else. For this reason, many companies are unable to develop products that are truly useful to their customers, and by selling products at low prices that are ostentatious, showy, have false value, and are addictive, they end up making their customers unhealthy or paying large sums of money for the sake of showmanship. More and more companies are trying to maintain sales by wasting money. The main point is that the economic activities of companies are becoming increasingly obsessive-minded, and the value they provide to customers has become secondary. As a result, even in internal decision-making, the happiness of customers and what is of value to them becomes secondary, and the emphasis is placed on what they receive and what they depend on. Furthermore, most companies are suffering from the big company disease, in which the organization itself becomes vested due to long-term management, and management positions become vested and corrupt. There is a tendency for decisions to be made based on whether or not the interests of the parties can be maintained. As a result, related departments are divided into sections and competition for interest takes place, and the larger the company, the more unable even the president is to change the political situation of sectioned interests. It is clear that even if you try to work in such a company with a proper sensibility and put the customer's interests and the company's long-term interests first, it will not get you anywhere. Then the job becomes a pile of tasks that need to be completed. And since no one wants to do such tasks, a situation arises where they are forced to do it on each other. Furthermore, since Japan has long had an economic policy of prioritizing shareholders and investors, it is considered fair to maximize corporate profits by reducing costs to the extent that they can. Cost reductions cover all areas, but one of the most notable is labor costs. In order to reduce labor costs, the employment form of non-regular temporary workers is becoming widespread. What will happen if this policy is followed is that no matter how efficient work becomes, those who are hired to work will be required to provide as much labor as possible. In addition, it will also reduce labor costs to the maximum extent possible. In other words, the best management method for maximizing a company's profits is to work as hard as possible, pay the minimum salary, and still allow people to work without quitting the company. As a result, many people's salaries are minimal, their work is neither easy nor interesting, and many people are living in despair. By the way, from a macro perspective, this is clearly the wrong economic policy and corporate strategy. This is because minimizing labor costs and maximizing shareholder profits will lead to a lack of buyers for saturated goods and services, which will eventually lead to a situation where the national economy stagnates. No matter how much the number of millionaires increases, they simply increase their savings and are unable to use their money effectively. On the other hand, if many ordinary citizens have only a small amount of money to spend on consumption, or if they are paid less than the amount of money they are working to produce, many people may have the desire to purchase, but there will be unsold items. A hellish situation awaits us as more products and services emerge and competition becomes even more intense. After the bubble burst, Japan is the only country in the 38 OECD countries and G7 countries whose economy and income have stagnated because of the Japanese people's abnormal obsession with saving, and the fact that only investors monopolize wealth and continue to save. This clearly shows that this has been repeated over and over again. Is it possible to live a fulfilling life while working as an office worker in such an environment? Of course, psychopathic and political people who thrive in a predatory, corrupt environment would thrive in such a corporate culture. However, if this is not the case, you will just have to work hard and be dissatisfied. This is the kind of situation you will inevitably find yourself in if you work for an existing corrupt company where only the strongest survive. To be honest, I also believe that it is difficult for individuals to find the company they are looking for. This is because each company has existing relationships, roles, and internal bureaucracies that allow it to continue its economic activities. Newbies are entering a vested interest structure that has already been established. So no matter how hard they try, there is no way that there will be an environment within that structure that a normal individual would seek. This naturally forces us to shift towards creating our own jobs and running our own businesses. I'm sure there are various cases, but in my opinion, the best way to work that enriches and satisfies your life on an individual level is to start by running your own business. In the economic activities of a company, it is true that all the infrastructure for doing business is in place based on past experience. But the company's systems are not necessarily utilized for the happiness of customers and employees. On the other hand, when an individual runs a business, unlike an existing company, the situation is completely bare and without any infrastructure or foundation. But human resources, oneself, and each person are free to create value for customers. We don't have anything at hand, but on the other hand, we don't have any obligations or responsibilities. Let's remember the point I mentioned at the beginning of this video again. The important point when running a personal business is to take action so that the economic activity is as follows. 1. Do only what you love. 2. Help people by doing what you love. 3. The selling price is a fair price, at least not at a ridiculously high price. It's very simple. Please think carefully about what you really like. You'll need the right inspiration to figure out what you like. And what you like has nothing to do with things like looking good, something you can brag about to friends and acquaintances, or your income level being higher than those around you. As for myself, I was a show-off and a competitive person, so I lived my life focusing on the looks I just listed. I was trying to show off, so I forced myself to study a foreign language, which I was not good at, and went to university. And because I was showing off, I went on to get an MBA. I wanted to gain an edge over the people around me, so I used those skills and my brand to look for a job. But to begin with, I wasn't an office worker type personality, and I didn't like my job. It never happened. And while I was living my life wandering like that, I was trying to figure out, what on earth do I really like? But in a mental state where my head was completely clouded, I just couldn't understand something so obvious. Of course, the main cause of this cloudy mental state was the toxic state of obesity caused by incorrect eating habits. Also, severe trauma that I had not been able to shake off since childhood was destroying my life in every situation. No matter what kind of environment I was in, I had a habit of thinking that I was extremely disadvantaged or underprivileged, and this always created a negative psychological state. In such a situation, no matter what happens, you will not be able to find or understand what you like, and you will not be able to communicate smoothly with others in order to do things that are beneficial to others. You can't do that either. What changed the situation was the normalization of eating and the elimination of trauma. Currently, this normalization of diet and elimination of trauma has been established as a complete winning formula through veganism, carbohydrate restriction, elimination of additives, and implementation of trauma notes. What you can achieve by doing these things is to improve your physical, health, and mental state. It is possible to remove toxins from the body and mind, and in the expression of Japanese prophecy, it is literally a refinement of the body and soul. Fasting was, without a doubt, the key to my life being completely transformed from being overweight, in poor health, and riddled with trauma. As a result of following a diet of 3-day fasting 4 times a month, I succeeded in losing about 20 kilos in a short period of about 2 months. By continuing to restrict carbohydrates, which I had already implemented, I was able to prevent my brain from becoming foggy again. The phrase, "do only what you like," has a very deep meaning. Doing what you love and turning what you love into a job requires a readiness to ignore appearances and income levels, and a clear and honest understanding that doing what you love is your priority. And what exactly is it that you like? In order to understand this, if you are not able to refine your body and soul to a certain extent, your mind will become hazy and you will be so dominated by idle thoughts that you will not be able to understand yourself. In addition, the action guideline of helping others is something that anyone can do. But when the trauma is severe, it is a common pattern that they are unable to communicate smoothly. And even if they try to help, they end up angering the other person. Or conversely, they can easily be deceived and taken advantage of by the other person and end up in an exploitative relationship. Therefore, resolving trauma through trauma notes is the first thing you must do if you are to succeed in your personal business. If you have refined your body and soul, your inspiration is more effective, you have a better understanding of what you really want to do, and in addition, your trauma has been resolved and your communication skills have improved, then you will actually be able to do what you like. We believe that we have reached a state where we can realize business. In a situation where you are able to refine your body and soul, you may feel that it would be better to work at a company or store somewhere to gain experience. I think such flashes are valid, and as a result of following that inspiration, you may end up being exploited by the company or store again, feeling like you should quit your job and actually quitting your job again. However, it's not a bad choice since you just need to make use of your experience from that job and move on to the next one. The same is true for private businesses. You've figured out what you like and how you can use it to help others. After that, you start your own business, but due to lack of experience, competition, and market conditions, you may fail and find yourself in a situation where you have to start over from a part-time job. However, you will later realize that the experience of failure was an essential part of the process to success. From this point of view, even if you actually fail when changing jobs or starting a new business, you can't really call it a failure. However, there are things you can do to make your business less likely to fail. That is, before you actually start your own business and make the investment to make money from it, you engage in public speaking activities on the internet about what you like. The medium may be a personal blog, SNS such as Twitter, YouTube, etc. Through these media, you post information that can actually help others by doing what you are good at or what you want to do. If one or two people become interested in that information and ask you for advice, then you have succeeded in finding your potential customers before opening a business and before investing. Engage in speech activities with the image of helping people by doing what you love. This is an action that each and every one of you can start right now, no matter what black company you work for. And in order to shake off the cloudy mind, no matter what kind of black company you work for, you should immediately start eating a healthy diet such as veganism, low carbohydrates, eating without additives, eating one meal a day, and fasting. You can. Of course, trauma relief work using trauma notes is something you can do right now. This means that you can start your own economic activities right now, such as making others happy, becoming happy yourself, and doing only what you like. And if something you like appears before your eyes and you feel that you need to change your environment in order to do what you like, never stop. Even if your income is temporarily reduced, you lose your job, or your social status declines, don't hesitate. You should no longer choose to live as a slave to money and greed. When you are doing what you love, you will feel happier than anyone else or at any time. And when all of you who are doing what you love are doing work that can help the customers, all the customers will be happy because of you, because your work and products are provided to help customers. In this economic activity, there are no victims, no exploiters, no scammers, no inequality. All of you will openly do what you love and do activities that will make other people happy. And the final point for this article is that the selling price should be a fair price, at least not at a ridiculously high price. If you can turn your customers into fans through social media and YouTube, they will surely be ready to pay you exorbitant amounts of money. Many fraudulent spiritual influencers selling high-priced products, and fraudulent consulting influencers use clever words to sell expensive products. Prices such as $3,000 are common for high-priced items, and the information provided is like secret information that will surely make you rich for $3,000, but is useless and use garbage. Or there has been talk recently of scammers in which spiritual leaders with special abilities simply perform erotic acts at love hotels under the name of sex therapy, enrich themselves with money, and make themselves feel good about themselves. You must not sell your services or products at an unreasonably high price just because you are popular or have earned trust. You must always provide something that is useful to your customers. Why shouldn't you set your prices according to the classical economic theory of maximizing profits? The reason is very simple. The purpose of your economic activities has nothing to do with fighting, exploitation, a sense of superiority, making money, or any of those old world greedy purposes. Your purpose is to make yourself happy, and in order for the new generation of humans to be happy themselves, they must be able to make other people with whom they have relationships happy. And you can't make all people happy. You probably wouldn't be able to do a job where you can treat anyone as a customer and provide them with a service as long as you get paid. Only genuine customers who align with your values have the right to receive the products and services you offer wholeheartedly. You will provide your products at a reasonable price only to those customers. To find such customers, you will naturally need to disseminate information through SNS and blogs. However, the products and services that you create and the network of customers that you create are bound together by a very strong relationship of trust, mutually influencing each other positively and creating a happy situation rather than a win-win situation. You will be able to build relationships. Happy's relationships are dependent on the fittest and should not be possible to build with existing corrupt companies. And I have told you several times on this channel that if you are truly going to move into the new world, the new earth, the world you ascended to, you need to create that world for yourself. An essential step toward this goal is the creation of a personal business, an economic activity in which you only do what you love and help others. I was inspired to create this video because at Endo Online Salon, which I run, I was actually seeing people who were trying to quit their jobs and people who were complaining about their spouses being harassed. Because there are people who are trying to escape, who are trying to take a step that will change their lives. Various people have various backgrounds, and each of them is living today with a variety of backgrounds. It's difficult to give general advice that will help everyone succeed and make everyone happy. But I created this video for you as a foolproof approach.
風潮とむくろの波今私の間をすり抜けては嘆くうつろな瞳並ぶ鉄格子の国傲慢と裏切りを諦めで潰した愛と綺麗に飾ってどれだけの命積めばやがて気づくのでしょうか血みどろの叫びすらも檻の向こうに隠して砕いてちぎって罪深き人の闇果て知らぬ欲は自己矛盾 雑音と捉える冷酷な作業のようにどれだけの涙飲めば世界は変わるのでしょうか。ほんのひとさじだけの甘さにいつまでも勝てない従うばかりで心の安寧と言い訳の山見つめても今も続く残虐に険さしのべられずどれだけの命積めばやがて気づくのでしょうか。